I have a really cool story about how I met Lucas. I was actually in the forest at Oak Openings in my hammock, and I was taking a nap, and I heard someone creeping up on me, and it was Lucas. And little did I know that he was kind of Instagram famous, but he introduced himself and asked me who I was, and that's how we became friends. So without further ado, Lucas Sigurdson, and Marketing Your Moments.
Thanks, Nate. How's everyone doing? I'm Lucas Sigurdson. I'm a 22-year-old college student and photographer, born and raised here in Toledo, Ohio. So I got into photography about 5 years ago, shortly after graduating high school in 2012. I had an iPhone 5, and I downloaded Instagram, and I was like, what is this new app everyone's using? And so I started photographing trees and sidewalks and flowers and just the world around me, and it kind of like became fun after a while. And so I'm a graduate of Toledo School for the Arts, and my passion ever since 7th grade, I'm a guitarist. I've been playing music, and I would walk by the photo studio every day and not think anything about it. Never stepped one foot in the photo studio. Little did I know that photography would eventually become the passion I never knew I had. So it all started on my iPhone and with Instagram. And I remember like the time when I first discovered hashtags. I was like, what in the world is a hashtag? And I remember my first photo that hit 11 likes. I was amazed. I was like, oh my goodness, 11 people liked my photo. And so as time went on, I became more and more interested and involved in Instagram. And it kind of appeared to be a community to me of sorts, of people that take pictures, that all get together and take pictures together and share pictures with people all around the world to see. I learned about Instameets, which are gatherings of photographers. We have an Instagram community here in Toledo of like 40 to 50 people. They get together on a regular basis, whether at Sidecut or Oak Openings or downtown, and just take pictures together and just create friendships. And so it's amazing, like Instagram, it's an app on our phones, but it's also a community and a way for you to meet people. And so that I consider myself a product of the world around me and the people around me. And so Instagram has really inspired me both as a person and as an artist, and it taught me who I was as a person. And so after high school, my dream through high school, I wanted to be a lawyer. So I spent 2 years in the pre-law program at UT. I wanted to be a real estate lawyer. I was super passionate about it. And after 2 years of studying the books every night, spending hours on hours in the law library, it kind of became something like, man, Lucas, this isn't fun anymore. This isn't me. And at the same time, I had saved up and bought myself my own camera, and I was shooting pictures more. I was doing family photos for friends and family, and it just one day I woke up and I was like, you know what, I really want to do this. I want to do this full time. I really enjoy this. And so I followed my heart thanks to my friends and family that supported me, and I switched majors to photography. I went from what would have been a comfortable career as a lawyer to a less financially promising life as an artist. I mean, it's a common thing, like starving artists, like, you know, artists, they don't have any money, but I've kind of found that that's not necessarily the case as long as you have the passion to chase that dream of being an artist. So I've spent the last 5 years or so really thinking about social media and what role it really does play in our lives. We're in an ever-evolving world. Social media marketing is huge right now, and I find Instagram. I think Instagram itself has kind of cultivated a change in the world of photography as we know it. I remember growing up, like I was a kid, but I never saw photography playing a major role. Everything was on TV, everything was on the radio. And as I've seen technologies advance over the last few years, I've really noticed a spark of photography in how people see the world and just different ways of capturing the world around them. So social media, a lot of people tend to treat it as a game. They want to get the likes, they want to get followers. How do I get my page bigger? How do I get 100 likes on this photo? And the biggest thing I can say as an artist, you can't let the numbers dictate who you are. You can't let the numbers take over who you want to be as a person, as an artist. I'm guilty of that. I mean, early on, when I was really getting involved in Instagram and my followers, I was getting more followers and getting likes, and early on I was like, yeah, I love this. This is so much fun. But as time went on, it kind of was like, you know what? What's the point of that? You know, what's the point of the amount of followers I have? What's the point of getting a certain number of likes? And at the same time, I found myself really becoming inspired and motivated, and just very thankful for the friendships I've discovered through Instagram. So I've kind of taught myself to focus more on the relationships and the opportunities I've been given, and the opportunities I chase, and the dreams I wake up each morning to chase. And so you can't let the numbers dictate who you are or who you want to be, because you're going to get discouraged if you can't set a number goal like, oh, I want to get so many followers. You can't do that. You begin to cater to what you believe others want to see, and you're not showing what you want others to see. You know, you can't be afraid to put yourself out there. Your true work. A lot of my personal work is a lot of portraits, and I shoot very narrative style portraits where I set up these big scenes in trailer parks and driveways with cars and studio lights and images that tell a story. I think the beauty of the still image is the way it can make you think and feel. And like for social media, like portraits aren't very big on Instagram. It's always been like an ongoing, like, oh, you don't post portraits on Instagram. And early on I was like, yeah, you would never do that. But then I started posting portraits on Instagram just to put my true work out there, and the feedback I got was really inspiring and helped me grow as an artist. You know, a lot of my classmates, like Bobby, I'm a BFA photo student at UT, and Bobby and I have classes together, and we've talked about photography and how our personal works. So if you put yourself out there exactly as you are, people are going to notice, and brands are going to notice. They're going to see how you want to be genuine. And as an artist myself, like I've always tried to stay true to myself. And I've been given plenty of amazing opportunities through Instagram to work with Fortune 500 companies. And it's amazing to say that as a 22-year-old college student, thinking I've worked with Holiday Inn, I've worked with different brands on going on road trips. Last year I worked with Logitech. They designed like laptop cases and accessories for computers and phones. And they paid me to grab 3 friends and go to Colorado for a week and take pictures of this guy. This is a zero touch. It's meant for the hook into your car dash, and you hook your phone up to it, and it turns your phone into a hands-free device for like navigation or texting or whatever. And so they released this product last year, and out of anyone else in the world, they sent me an email. Hey, we want to sponsor your next road trip. Here's this tool we want you to photograph. And so it's amazing to think about the opportunities that you can get from social media and by staying true to yourself and really putting yourself out there. I've never been afraid of that. Like I said, I try to chase. I reach out to brands that I feel passionate about, like Balance Pan Asian Grill. They're a local restaurant. I'm really passionate about everything Balance is about, and I've had the great opportunity I photograph for them. I run their Instagram account, and just to really dive into this local brand and to see everything they're doing for Toledo, both on the food front and just on the cultural front. Toledo is a great city. I consider myself a product of my environment, like I said earlier, and I think Toledo is such a cultural city. There's so much art, so much great food, so much great, just so many great friendships. Like my friend Taylor, there in the back row, he's one of my best friends I've ever met in my entire life, and we've had some crazy road trip adventures together. And we really connected through Instagram. Like a couple years ago, we went to North Carolina for a week and just grabbed a cabin and just hung out. And it was supposed to be like a 9-hour trip to North Carolina, but it ended up being a 16-hour trip because we didn't have GPS through the mountains. So we went through 5 states. So that was amazing. So the biggest thing about social media and about art, like I said, you just have to stay true to yourself. A lot of people, they tend to get greedy with social media, and I've seen a lot of people where they sell themselves out, and just to focus on money and to focus on I got to fill that bank account, and for me that's never been my focus. Like I said, I love establishing friendships, I love meeting people, and I love connecting. And social media the world of social media has changed my life, and Instagram, I can never explain all that single app has meant to me. A couple years ago, I had the chance to meet Jeffrey Gerson, who's Instagram's community manager for North America. I met him in San Diego a couple years ago, and I said, Jeffrey, where do you think Instagram will be in 2 years? And he laughed. He said, Lucas, I have no idea where Instagram will be in 6 months. And I always carry that with me. Like, it's amazing how big social media is in our lives right now, but we never know what it will be like in the future. And you never know. I mean, we live in it seems like it's such a, our world is, we saw MySpace burn out. We saw, and just different social media platforms you never know how long they're going to be around. But like with Instagram, for me as a photographer, I found that community to be ever growing. And some of the greatest people I've ever known in my life I met through Instagram. And so social media, it's really about sharing your passion with others. Whether you're a photographer like me, or you're a videographer, or you're a film director, whatever you do, you can't be afraid to put yourself out there. And I wake every day like, all right, how am I gonna, I want to launch this new project, and I want people to see it, and I want to hear feedback, and I just want to talk to people. And I come to Rust Belt all the time, and Nate, I met some amazing people through Nate, and just establishing friendships and just life is just awesome, and I try to live every day to the fullest, and I love everyone I know and all the opportunities I've been given with my art. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question. So, so you know me. I run Savannah. We're a small design firm with a creative focus, and we struggle with the social media thing, right? Because we have a mission, we have a goal behind our designs. What advice would you give us for branding on Facebook and social media and things like that?
Well, as far as branding and really trying to get traction to your brand, and you really have. I found a really great tool, or a really great way to think about that is how can you relate to the people to the people who will see. How do you relate to your audience? And like with Balance, I've had the great privilege. I run their Instagram account, and so it's really been great to really dive in, walk into Balance, and spend a couple hours there and just talk to people, and say, what do you like about the food here? How's your meal today? How's your day going? Why do you come to Balance? And so I think of your different design tactics that you come up with, I think the biggest thing is how can you relate to your audience, or how can you create, whether it's imagery or any sort of presentation that you put out there, like you want to catch the eye of your audience, obviously, and just different ways of thinking about doing that. So, yeah.
Do you think Instagram is a good tool to sell product, or is it more of for designers and artists?
It's amazing to think about. If you would have asked me 4 years ago that Instagram would be like streamlined in the marketing world, I would have been like, yeah, right, you're crazy. But I've seen myself, my friends, people I follow, I see working with different brands, selling products, saying, hey, here, I have this product, check this out. This is how I'm applying it to my daily life. And it's hard to explain, or it's hard to it's amazing to think about that, like, brands entrust college students like me to display their products or to use their products. And so I think the marketing world, the market for Instagram, it's endless. I've seen so many different avenues. I've seen car companies hire people to make videos about their car, driving across the country, So I think the opportunities are endless as far as Instagram and how it can be used as a marketing tool.
Yeah. 2 questions. First, have you developed a sense at all yet, or like when you first snapped that photo, for knowing if that one's going to go big?
Going big I wouldn't say going big. I would say I feel like feeling accomplished after capturing a photo. Like, wow, like that's the one. Like when I go out on a shoot, like I can take 100 photos of the same photo because you have to get that one. I pay a lot of attention to light and color and composition. So, but I mean, a big thing with Instagram and a big thing with social media that people fall into that numbers game, and they think about what's going to get the most likes. You think trees, you think sunsets, you think open roads, and so early on I was guilty of that. I mean, and a lot of people are guilty of that, and I've since felt I've grown beyond that to where like I don't I hold myself to a high standard as an artist. I blame my professors for growing me as an artist and pushing back. You know, one of my professors sat me down one day a couple years ago and said, "Lucas, your Instagram is just stock photos. That's all these are." And at first I was like, "Wow, that hurt." But then, but I've held that with me ever since, and so it's always pushed me to try new things and to not be afraid to post the opposite side of the street and not look away from the water and look away from the sun. And
So I think you kind of touched on it, but do you ever take a picture that you think is really great, but to actually post it on your feed would kind of break your own brand?
Yeah, definitely. I've posted photos that I've absolutely loved, and I mean there is a risk in that because Instagram is all about you want your feed to look great, you want consistency, and obviously that plays a role in my thought process of what I'm going to post next. But sometimes I'll just throw a photo out there. You know what? I really like this photo, and I really want people to see it. I don't care about how many likes it gets. I don't care about that. I want to put my true self out there, and I want to put this photo out there because it really means something to me. And if it means something to one other person, that's great. So, yeah.
What's your thoughts on Insta stories? You hear a lot of people say, keep your Instagram, if you're doing like a professional platform with your Instagram,
Yeah.
keep that in cohesive and same style of pictures and stay. But on Insta stories, you can have a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
Or do you say don't do Insta stories because you're afraid you're going to let somebody too deep into what you're doing?
Right. I actually love Instagram stories. I think it's a very personal viewpoint into what you're doing. Like I have friends across the country. I have friends in Europe through Instagram, and it's cool to be able to watch their Instagram stories if they're wherever they are, just to see their daily lives like in that moment where they're at. And so I think Instagram stories, I think it's really cool. I think it was a great addition to Instagram. I mean, the app itself is always evolving. They're always launching new features and stuff. But I think early on there was a sense of arrogance among a lot of top Instagrammers and that have a K after their following, where like, oh, I don't want to give away my tricks. I don't want to tell people where I'm shooting. But I've always been the complete opposite of that. Like if you see a photo you like, Lucas, where do you take that? I'll take you right to it. So I'm all about like anything I can do to help you out, or if you have any questions for me, like I'm just another person. I'm just a college student with a passion.
One more thing, what's your thoughts on hashtags? I think the industry is so oversaturated with teenagers trying to gain
Yeah.
hashtagging the heck out of everything.
Oh yeah.
And then I have a little bit more of an understanding, but I'm thinking a lot of these people might not understand how to properly hashtag something to drive things to your brand.
Yeah. Hashtags have definitely become saturated. Everyone tags follow for follow if you're some high school girl or whatever. But I think hashtags, because they become so saturated, I often wonder myself, like, what's the point of them anymore? I have a set like group of tags for like nature photos or portrait photos, for example, that I'll use. I'm guilty of using, but then again, I've also posted photos without having tags at all, and perhaps the engagement wasn't any different. So I think, as far as tags, how many people are posting right this second? Do you think? How many people are using the same exact tag right this second all around the world? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, you tag. Follow me. I mean, there are probably millions of people posting in a matter of like 10 minutes right now. So I don't think hashtags are as valuable as they used to be, or maybe they still are, and I just don't see it. Yeah.
Do you feel like you shoot more pictures with like a DSLR or your phone?
Yeah. So if you go to my Instagram is 90% iPhone. I bought a Fujifilm camera last February, and I've been using that mainly ever since. Fuji is a great brand. I love their products. But I've always held the iPhone camera dear to me. I love that it's so simple, yet I mean, you can't really control much about it. I mean, you can't really control the light, and so I think it sets barriers that are fun to play with, because you can't zoom. I mean, the camera is so simple, but it's so it's kind of, the imagery off your phone is amazing. So I definitely I wouldn't say you don't use your iPhone. I mean, I've seen some of the greatest pictures I've ever looked at were taken with an iPhone. And I have friends that have had their iPhone photos displayed on billboards. And so there isn't like a drawback to using your phone versus using a DSLR. It's never been about the gear for me. It's been about just my passion for photography. Whatever I have in my hands, I'll shoot with. Anyone else? All right. Thank you.